decades. Wars, revolutions, and sectarian violence have ravaged the Middle East, and now two leaders have emerged, locked in a power struggle that could determine the fate of the entire region. On one side is Recep Tayyip Erdoğan, the president of Turkey. Erdogan's dreams is to restore Turkey to its former glory as a regional hegemon. He is also a devout Muslim who sees himself as the father of the Islamic world. On the other side is Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. Netanyahu is determined to protect Israel's security at all costs. He is also a staunch secularist who views Erdogan and his Islamic agenda as a threat to Israel's existence. These two men are locked in a bitter rivalry that is playing out on multiple fronts. In Syria, Erdogan supports the Muslim Brotherhood rebels, while Israel has carried out hundreds of airstrikes over the past decade, primarily targeting Hezbollah fighters and other Iran-backed forces, as well as Syrian army positions. In Iraq, Erdogan is fighting against Kurdish militants, while Netanyahu is secretly arming them. And in Gaza, Erdogan has condemned Israel's blockade, while Netanyahu has launched a new ground invasion. Now, the Netanyahu-Erdogan rivalry is not just a personal one. It is also a clash of two very different visions for the future of the Middle East. Erdogan wants to see a region united under Islamic law, while Netanyahu wants to see a region dominated by Israel and its allies. The stakes in this battle are huge. If Erdogan succeeds, the Middle East could become a bastion of radical Islam. If Netanyahu succeeds, the Middle East could become a permanent war zone. But there is another possibility, one that is even more disturbing. It is possible that neither Erdogan nor Netanyahu will win in the end. Instead, the region could descend into chaos and anarchy with millions of people caught in the crossfire. This is the disturbing reality of the new power struggle in the Middle East, and as you'll later find out, it will have a profound impact on the future of the world. You see, Israel and Turkey have a long and complex history, dating back to the Ottoman era, when they were both part of the same empire. After the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, Turkey was one of the first Muslim countries to recognize Israel's statehood in 1949, and the two countries established diplomatic ties in 1950. For many years, Israel and Turkey enjoyed a strategic partnership based on common interests and values such as secularism, democracy, and security. However, the relationship between Israel and Turkey was often affected by the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the Kurdish issues. There were times when the relationship was strained, such as during the 1967 Six-Day War, the 1974 Turkish invasion of Cyprus, the 1980 Turkish military coup, and the 1982 Israeli invasion of Lebanon. Despite these tensions, Israel and Turkey managed to maintain their friendship and cooperation until the rise of Recep Tayyip Erdoğan. As you'll later find out, the relationship between Erdogan and Netanyahu has been marked by numerous incidents that have strained their ties and revealed their true divergent interests. Now, the roots of Erdogan-Netanyahu rivalry, it can be traced back to the Mavi Marmara Flotilla incident in 2010, when Israel forces killed 9 Turkish activists on board a ship trying to break the blockade in Gaza. Erdogan accused Israel of state terrorism and recalled the Turkish ambassador from Tel Aviv. Netanyahu, on the other hand, defended Israel's right to self-defense and accused the flotilla of having links to Hamas. The incident exposed the deep ideological differences between Erdogan and a devout Muslim and a populist leader, and Netanyahu, a staunch nationalist of a conservative leader. Erdogan has positioned himself as a champion of the Palestinian cause and a critic of Israel's policies, while Netanyahu has pursued a hardline stance on security and settlement issues. The rift between the two leaders widened in 2018 when the United States relocated its embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Erdogan condemned the decision as a slap in the face to Muslims and recalled the Turkish ambassadors from Washington and Tel Aviv. Netanyahu, on the other hand, praised the decision and thanked the U.S. for its courageous and historic move. The embassy relocation was followed by a deadly clash on the Gaza-Israel border, in which more than 60 Palestinians were killed. Erdogan accused Israel of genocide and a crime against humanity, while Netanyahu defended Israel's actions as necessary to protect its borders and sovereignty. He also accused Hamas of using the protesters as human shields and instigating the violence. The Erdogan-Netanyahu rivalry has also been fueled by their different perspectives on the status of East Jerusalem. Erdogan, a vocal supporter of the Palestinian cause, denounced Israel's occupation and blockade of the Gaza Strip, which he considered a form of collective punishment and a violation of international law. He also criticized Israel's settlement expansion and annexation plans on the West Bank, which he views as an obstacle to the two-state solution and a threat to regional peace and stability. Netanyahu, on the other hand, considers East Jerusalem to be Israel's undivided capital. In fact, he announced plans to build 15,000 new settlement homes in East Jerusalem in February 2019, the largest number ever authorized in one sitting. The move sparked outrage from Turkey, which called it a banditry and a provocation that would further inflame the tensions in the region. Erdogan accused Israel of trying to wipe out the traces of the Islamic heritage in Jerusalem and vowed to defend the rights and interests of the Palestinians. He also urged the international community to take action against Israel's illegal and unacceptable settlement policy. You see, Erdogan has frequently referred to Israel as a terror state and its actions as genocide, especially during the periods of escalation and violence between Israel and Hamas. In May 2021, Erdogan denounced Israel's military operation in Gaza as one of the bloodiest and most savage attacks in history and called Israel a murderer. He also criticized the U.S. and other Western countries for their unconditional support for Israel and their silence on the plight of the Palestinians. Erdogan's anti-Israel rhetoric has not only damaged the diplomatic relations between Turkey and Israel, but also provoked strong reactions from Israel's leaders, who have accused Erdogan of being an anti-Semite. The Erdogan-Netanyahu rivalry has a devastating impact on the Middle East. It has exacerbated tensions between Israel and its Arab neighbors and undermined the prospects for peace between Israelis and Palestinians. To truly understand this impact, let's take a closer look at the massive influence shared by the two leaders. Now, Recep Tayyip Erdoğan is one of the most influential and controversial leaders in the Middle East and the world. He has been in power since 2003, first as prime minister and then as president since 2014. He has transformed Turkey from a secular democracy into an increasingly authoritarian and Islamic state, cracking down on dissent, media, and civil society. Erdogan's foreign policy agenda is based on his ambition to make Turkey a global power, as well as a champion of Muslim causes. He has intervened in the Syrian civil war, supporting the rebels and opposing the regime of Bashar al-Assad, who is backed by Iran and Russia. He has also invaded northern Iraq, where he is fighting against Kurdish militants of the PKK, whom he considers terrorists. Erdogan's relationship with other Middle Eastern leaders is complex and often tense. He has a close alliance with Qatar, which shares his support for the Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas. He has also improved his ties with Saudi Arabia, which was damaged by the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi in 2018. He has expressed his support for the U.S. initiative to broker a normalization deal between Israel and Saudi Arabia, saying it would lower tensions in the region. However, Erdogan has also clashed with many of his neighbors. He has a hostile relationship with Iran, which he accused of meddling in the region and supporting terrorism. He has also condemned Israel for its occupation and oppression of the Palestinians, calling it a terrorist state and a war criminal. He also denounced Egypt for its coup against the Muslim Brotherhood in 2013 and its crackdown on political Islam. He has also faced opposition from the United Arab Emirates, which sees him as a threat to its interests and influence in the region. Erdogan's role as promoting a pan-Islamic vision is based on his aspiration to revive the glory and influence of the Ottoman Empire, which once ruled over much of the Muslim world. He has presented himself as a defender of Muslim rights and a leader of the Islamic world, especially in the face of Western interference. Benjamin Netanyahu, on the other hand, has been in office since 2009, after serving a previous term from 1996 to 1999. He is the longest-serving prime minister in Israel's history, having survived multiple elections and coalitions. Netanyahu's stance on regional issues and Israel's foreign relations with other Middle Eastern leaders is based on his vision of Israel as a Jewish and democratic state. He has pursued a hardline policy toward the Palestinians, rejecting the two-state solution and expanding the settlement in the occupied territories. He has also opposed the 2015 nuclear deal between Iran and world powers and welcomed the U.S. withdrawal from it in 2018. He has also been involved in a covert campaign of sabotage against Iran's nuclear facilities. Netanyahu has also cultivated ties with Saudi Arabia and other Arab countries, which share his concerns about Iran. He has signed normalization agreements with the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Morocco, and Sudan in 2020, and has been hoping to reach a similar deal with Saudi Arabia. He has also maintained a close relationship with the United States, Israel's main ally and patron, especially under the administration of Donald Trump, who recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital and moved the U.S. Embassy there in 2018. However, Netanyahu's approach to Israel's security and interest has also faced criticism and challenges, both at home and abroad. He has been accused of corruption, abuse of power, and incitement, and has been indicted on several charges of bribery, fraud, and breach of trust. He has also been blamed for the failure of the government, the intelligence, and the military to prevent the invasion of Hamas militants from Gaza on October 7, 2023, which resulted in the death of more than 1,400 Israelis, mostly civilians, and the capture of hundreds more. He has also been condemned by the international community for his disproportionate and indiscriminate use of force against Gaza, which has killed more than 11,000 Palestinians at the time of the making of this video, mostly women and children, and displaced more than 1.5 million. But what have international players been doing to contain this mess? In reality, external powers play a significant role in shaping the Middle East, influencing both the regional actors like Erdogan and Netanyahu and their interactions. They cooperate, oppose, mediate, or exploit these actors depending on their alignment or divergence on key issues. The United States, Russia, and the European Union are the major external powers in the region, with different and complex relationships with Turkey and Israel. The U.S. considered Turkey and Israel as key allies, providing them with economic, military, and diplomatic support. However, it has also disagreed with them on the Iranian nuclear deal, the Syrian civil war, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the Kurdish issue, and human rights and democracy. Russia has a complex relationship with Turkey and Israel, viewing them as important neighbors and partners. However, it also conflicts with them on their interest in the region, such as Syrian civil war. Russia has also tried to manipulate them to expand its influence in the region. The EU has a mixed relationship with Turkey and Israel, interacting with them on various issues but facing frustrations in dealing with them, as they often defy the EU standards in the region. The EU has condemned Erdogan and Netanyahu's policies on Turkish accession to the EU, the Israeli settlements in the occupied territories, Turkish crackdown on the opposition and the media, and Israeli annexation of the West Bank and the Golan Heights. The EU has also tried to reconcile Erdogan and Netanyahu, as it sees them as crucial for peace and prosperity of the region. You might be wondering what's next for the region and how far can the consequences of the grapple between the two leaders stretch? Well, the Middle East is a region of surprises and dangers, where anything can happen. The region is facing many battles, deals, and changes that will decide its fate and affect the world. Now, the future of the 2015 nuclear deal between Iran and the world powers, which was dumped by the U.S. in 2018 and revived by the Biden administration in 2021, will have a huge impact on the region's security and stability. The deal tries to stop Iran from making nuclear weapons in return for lifting sanctions and giving money. The deal could either end the nuclear crisis peacefully or make it worse. But that's not all. The solution of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which has been one of the hardest conflicts in the world, will have a big impact on the region and global peace. The conflict is about land, power, safety, and identity, and it touches the lives of millions of people. The conflict could either lead to two states living side by side or to one state of injustice and violence. Now, the implications of the relationship between Erdogan and Netanyahu for the Middle East are significant and far-reaching. The truth is that the relationship could either contribute to the peace and stability of the region or to the violence and instability of the region. It could either enhance the security and prosperity of the people in the region or endanger their security and prosperity. The two leaders, along with past and emerging trends, will shape the future of the Middle East politics and will create different outcomes. One of the worst scenarios, which is unlikely but not impossible, is World War III. The war would impose a massive threat to humanity because of the involvement of advanced nuclear weapons. It is very important to be aware of the risks of a more catastrophic World War III and to avoid it by pursuing a better outcome, one that is based on dialogue and diplomacy. This would be the best scenario, and it can happen if Erdogan and Netanyahu choose to act wisely and responsibly and to work together for the common good. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Share your thoughts in the comment section, and until next time, thank you for watching.